No, I know that like after everything that Canada has been through in the last, you know, ever since I was born, the world can't afford any more negativity. Um, I'm sorry, for my actions. Because some people might have genuinely wanted to start a family, right? Like, someone genuinely wanted to start a family, and I'm not like, I don't, I don't go against that, right? Like, I don't like just because some things are weird doesn't mean everybody and everything. Like, I understand that, but um, obviously, like, if nobody listens and nobody listens, right? You could warn them, you could like whatever, and then people are gonna call you a dictator, and then you know, yeah, but like, um, conflict started over nothing. That's a lot of what the reality of what I'm saying. Conflicts that started over nothing. Um, you know, um, I don't want people like to interfere with my life. I don't want to interfere in their lives. I'm okay with people interfering in my life. Their lives. Um, the world has changed like drastically since I was born, and it keeps on changing. And I'm not using that as an excuse to not help people to like change behavior. Um, because it is serious because you could have had the normal thing I had, but the issue is the issue. The issue is the past and how it happened. And again, I could have said nothing at all. I could have. I didn't mean to break normal everyday life. Like I would want to go back to normal now if I could pay every dollar I could. If there even ever was a normal, right? If there ever was a normal day, um, I never had a solid routine in my life. Um, I don't know about other people, but I've never had a solid routine. I never had like a group of friends. I've never had people to relate to. Um, I mean, whether it's because some of these people are like, coming from different dimensions, or, um, you know, they just everyone's moving, like people just move out, whatever. And when I hear the concept of a word, right, like there's a word, and then I kind of like can portray what it's saying in my mind, right? Like I just um, like when I say a word like word, um, when I say a word of any kind, right? Like the thing is, if I want people to take me seriously, I need to behave seriously. I need to have a character of some kind, a character of any kind. And I've never really developed one. Like, and I know like years ago things were pretty funny, and you can laugh it off. And now everything is just plain serious. But I do guarantee people like that the world was normal at some point. Not like white normal, but like normal as in like like the TV show kind of ran and things kind of just kept going, um and people like going up, going to school, and they're um the thing is like emotionally like some of these things are difficult. You have to analyze why do you have those emotions, what are they trying to say, what is it some intuition, is it just the emotions like to what purpose, right? To what purpose the emotions exist? Um, like um, I don't know which border agent let my mom in. Her task was to, in particularly her job was to work, you know, and she should have helped the homeless. She should have helped Jennifer Pan and the others. Um, she didn't. Right? She didn't. Uh, um, and that's the whole problem, right? The whole problem is now I quantify it. Like I can say I'm offering free housing for the homeless, right? But it doesn't sound sincere, and that's obviously a problem for other people, right? I'm not saying like again. I know I'm not everybody's gonna like me or what I say, um, but like I am saying like tragedy that unfolds in the world right now, right? Like whether you monitor me like 24/7, everything I say, if it's sincere or not, right? There are moments where I'm not sincere. There are moments where I struggle. Again, like the original like conflict. If I'm saying like, okay, I want to help the homeless, I could have done that, right? And obviously capitalism and like all this material stuff, it literally physically and mentally it gets in the way of like you trying to help people, right? I don't know if it's designed on that way on purpose, like the physical material thing is like I said it before, but like when you talk, like you're causing your own demise, right? If you're causing your own demise, right, just by talking, right, like language you speak, like where you live. I think the best answer that I can give is I would make a goal and focus on that goal. I wouldn't let my ADHD get in the way. I'd focus, take a goal, concentrate on it, and then move on, right? Even if it's like me being isolated, I feel pretty isolated, pretty isolated. I get like again, like I can advocate for certain individuals, and not everybody. Like the things that have occurred are beyond sad. No international student should be arriving to Canada and losing their life over these things. And like to give a responsibility off to some other person, it's kind of unethical. I can't make like obviously like these videos are post fact, so they don't have anything to do with 2012 being like the cutoff point. Because the thing is like if I knew the world was gonna end, in 2012, I would have warned everybody. I would have said all these things sooner. I told them be vegetarian. I can cause conflict because of chaos, but being a vegetarian, offering housing for the homeless, right? That's kind of just common sense. And if the person wants to cause a conflict over that, right, they can, right? It's their individual's choice. I don't care. Like for me personally, like you can live with me for like a month or something. The thing is the TV shows have already provided a warning, right? They provided a warning back when the thing is I understand that to some extent I have done this to myself where I can't live that normal life. Maybe if my intention was to raise children and like a American Dream-esque thing, that's out of reach now, like financially, psychologically, socially, like the awkward state of my life. And sad things had to come to this, like the other videos I've said and I've kind of explained and like the way things were, and then now, like even that SpongeBob episode where Squidward's unemployed, like Squidward was unemployed. Squidward is unemployed. He doesn't get a job. The guy's supporting him, but that was 12 or 14 years ago. So that's not today, right now. So I don't know if it was intentional that like the system kind of like you can partake in it, and then all of a sudden, like, and then as you get older, it's harder and harder, and then you know it's harder and harder to partake, and then at some point, like whether it's like you're trapped because of the system or something else, like it just, and I mean, obviously these things are like kind of like, oh, kind of knew it was gonna happen, or I already said I told you so's, but I'm not using that as an excuse to not, to ignore conflict of some kind. So this is why I do get randomly attacked, right? The person's response is immediate violence. Unfortunately, right? The last thing that you want is the first person's response, because the way the world's kind of modified and all that, and like maybe in the 80s and the 60s and the 50s, I don't know, like I don't believe that it's for me to say that other people can't exist, even 50 years old, because they can't understand the world around them anymore, because it's so different from how it used to be. It's so much maybe more complicated. I can't throw judgment there. If the government's run by bad people or not. Again, I made my personal mistakes. I mentioned my mom had cancer in 2014, so like, say that because that's when things kind of changed and all that. Because the thing is, if even I can't get the degree, like even if I can't get the degree, I'm not saying no one else can. I'm just saying, like, if it's difficult or nearly impossible for me to obtain a degree, outside of the strictness and the strictness of the system itself, like that prevents you from doing anything. Other than that, I can't do anything, right? I can't. And maybe people need to be constantly stimulated. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if people need to be constantly stimulated, if it's, if there's some evil in the world, people need to be constantly stimulated, or people being constantly stimulated, or people being constantly stimulated, or needing something to pass the time. I could sit on my phone and I could I'm obviously trying to find answers. What's the meaning of life? Why are things happening? This. I'm not gonna put a number on that. These movies and their actors, they aren't who they should be, right? They aren't who they should be. They're not really honest. Like, they're not great people, but again, I don't want like unnaturalness like in the world, right? Unnatural results, unnatural like behavior, controlling behavior. Because if it's like a lamp, right? The purpose of a lamp is to provide light, right? So if the purpose of me to make this video is to inform the public, then it's to inform the public. Like the thing is, if I did this naturally, like no computer games, no cell phone, you just go in the world and you experience everything like firsthand, then the result might have been different. And that's why my whole concern is because English language is cursed, right? It is built, I think, on like violence. Every word is like knives. It's built on violence. And I believe that like every word built on violence, every word every word is built on violence. Every word is cursed. But like every word built on violence, it's not a nice language. It's just I believe that English language is cursed. Every word built on violence. I mean, yeah, every word for the English language built on violence. Maybe it's to solicit, so the purpose of everything, is the one thing, and the person's trying, they're trying to get something, or pursuing a goal, which isn't bad, right? It's not bad inherently to have a goal in your mind and then to pursue it. Like the appearance of like a life coach and all these people, right? They can exist, right? And I don't hold judgment like against that idea or that mentality. And I'm sure like there's ways that people can solve issues as a coach, like even if they tell someone that like something they don't want to hear, like the coach can solve it. But I, for the most part, like I sincerely like I would have done things differently. Like I guess my opinion, like as like a personal person like myself, I'm a Christian, vegetarian, not saying anything, just going to school and for one purpose, and that's what I would do. If you're looking for something in particular, that's me, right? That's who I am. I'm sorry to the indigenous community that they have to experience any of this stuff. I can't even keep up with it either. I don't know where these people or these things are coming from. These products, they flash on the TV, some other thing they're advertising, some other gadget or product. I'm sure that I'm not acting. I'm not even acting. Like I'm actually like being honest and serious. They flash the gadget and they're trying to sell it or something, and then maybe the person they were forced to do it, or they got paid to do the commercial, so they ran it. Because the thing is, like, I don't know what the government would want. They want like an obedient population that just sits at home, watches TV, and or do you drink drink soda pop? Like they want you to sit at home, watch TV, constantly watch movies. Maybe they want you to be distracted, maybe they don't. But so-called bread and circus, right? So that's like what the thing is, like to distract the person, maybe, right? Again, I don't know if it's the computer games, something I've Google searched that resulted in the person appearing here, right? Like, if there was a natural fate for me that was in stock, um, when I gained consciousness at 6 years old, right? That's me making choices. That's not my mom. That's already me. As far as my mom goes, like, she is who she is. She doesn't reflect my choices. Like um, like I hate my voice because sometimes it sounds like I'm not serious, but I'm actually like serious. I'm actually trying to be serious. I don't know if I was serious in the past enough, like as a child, like as a baby. I don't know if I was serious enough or not. Like, what I would have told people, what I would have done. If love was enough or not, right? That's the question a lot of people who got married ask. Um, you know, the apps, like the social media apps, they like um, like TikTok and all that, like they just you get overloaded with information. Um, whether the TV was evil or not, because the guy who attended school to create it, they felt a certain way. A bunch of people, they tried and they didn't succeed. Um, the hurdle could have been one or another. Um, and obviously working together and having that community and not being alone, that's something I wish I wouldn't feel, right? That's something I wish um, I wouldn't feel either, but unfortunately that's kind of how my life went, and like they said, like what's going on right now is kind of irreversible, so like I make choices, right? But maybe the choice is already made, um, and also like yeah, you can run a commune, you can run this, that, and the other, and that's all fine. But I'm trying to say, like, it's not even a conspiracy theory thing. That like in all honesty, like I the thing is, like, if they knew, they knew, right? And it could be one thing that I was annoying as a child because I didn't know what was going on and I wanted attention, um and I would do anything to get it. And then it's another thing that like I I I wanted attention and I wanted to get it, so therefore I would say anything and do anything just to get attention. And I wouldn't understand the purpose, the reason why I would, or the reason for my life. Um, I wouldn't know it. I wouldn't know like the reason I'm alive. I wouldn't know the reason I'm alive. I wouldn't, if I wasn't conscious. Um, because again, like the painter and what he did was because of the art school situation, and again, the strictness of the society for one group of people or another is not my. I don't have no dog in that fight, and I don't want to have one. Right? I don't want to get involved in things that truly don't involve me. Um, I'm not in a high school, so this is not a high school setting. I try to resolve conflicts as much as I can. Some things you can't solve, right? Some things are like you can't solve them. Um, if I was supposed to learn a lesson on planet Earth and all that, that's what I was supposed to learn, right? Um, obviously, like it's not the way it was in the past, and like if if I knew that these things were like what they were, like if I knew that, um, if I knew that, uh, that there that like because I know that like the old world, the one we knew is gone, right? That is something everyone can ascertain, that the old world, the one like a lot of people, they passed away in that old world. They passed away when they turn on the vacuum or the house fire or like things of the sort. Um, that was the old way. That was the old, like, people would have conflicts to try to get things to work. They would be frustrated. They would they put in the work. They break their back and all that. And that's just the way things used to be. You have to look into the past in order to understand the present. Like if you're not, you have to be aware of history. Like you have to be aware of what's happened. And again, I feel awful. Like I'm isolated a lot. I understand how this is my personal fate, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this personal fate. Um, Nobody should lose anyone to any of the issues we hear about. You can't alter the past, or at least I hope you could, but you can't always alter the past. Um, to take what I'm experiencing and just burden it on to like another person is definitely terrible. That's not something I personally do. It's not something I want. I don't want to like burden the people, right? If you could affect the past, right? You go in the past, and you go into the past. Because the thing is, the true value of life, objectively, it's subjective. So we make an opinion. We have our beliefs. We hold them in our minds, right? We all work together to get through the day. I pray. I pray for better. I think everybody prays for better. Like I hate Donald Trump. I hate America. I hate how like that all like he's just so incompetent. Like it's crazy. Like all these people are so incompetent. I mean, I'm not saying they're terrible people, but like grossly incompetent. I mean, like I'm sure some neckbeard has some better ideas, but the thing is, like, the system kind of maybe worked its thing. It did what it was intended to do, and the system did what it was intended to do, and there was no guarantee that I'd grow up to be an old man, right? And I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. I would have offered housing earlier, like, and like sometimes like when you speak, it's just like there's someone talking, so we can just like, there's a person talking, so we could like, so someone said my name, so I arrived, right? So like that's like intuition, right? The thing is, my end goal was to have children. Then maybe I wouldn't have lived the kind of life that I lived, right? And I think that's logical. I think that's a fair statement to say. With everything that I experienced, it's a fair statement to say. I mean, I'm not here to make predictions. Whether or not I go back into the soil, or not. And again, everybody's gonna say I told you so, and it's the white people's fault. And the thing is it's an issue because it's not the people in prison right now. It's people in the past who didn't have access to information, technology. People wouldn't have access to the internet, while they were incarcerated. They didn't have access to the internet. They didn't have access to the internet. Uh, they didn't have access to the internet. Didn't have access to the internet. They didn't have access to social media, or like. And the thing is, I don't create these videos to create a distraction, or like to show people the next new thing or something. This is being sincere and honest. Like when you die, if you go back into the ground or not. Dying with dignity, that's Adoniram Clayton and all that. To the extent of sanity, right? People don't talk to me because they know they think I'm kind of crazy, right? They knew me to be crazy. They knew me to, you know, and whether or not it's a battle in the mind or some other world or something, I can't say, right? Like I said, we can program our minds just like a computer, right? Because a computer is written script, right? It's written script, and like I said, power is cursed, right? Power, responsibility, it's cursed. It's sincere, right? It's sincere, and right? The power is sincere, right? The power issue, like power struggles, and the thing is, like, even if you were to solve every argument of the past, every conflict, like, obviously, my goal was to maybe prevent the suffering of another person, right? Another human being, maybe an animal, right? Like, because like in university institutions, right? Even in high school, right? Animal testing, and there's a frog dissection, all that. Again, I made it home from high school, right? I actually made it home. Like I actually made it home. But it's not like, the thing is, I don't know if it's like subconsciously, like the frog, like subconsciously, right? The frog, dissection is, the frog dissection was, in part, the frog dissection is like, teaches people maybe to think like, oh, animals are below us, or we can like test on them, and do these things without consequence. I don't know. I don't know if any of the ideas even resonate with other people. Like, things I say, if they resonate with anybody. Obviously, if they do, the person that arrived, it resonates with me. The political party resonates with me. The message resonates with me. Again, I can talk like this. I can talk like I can talk in this subjective manner, like. And again, the reason you need to ask is why. Why would you behave like this? Why would you act like that? And all those things. And again, like, there is an answer, like, in terms of given here, like, will they microchip animals and all those things. It is painful, right? It is painful, but the part I think that needs to be said is that I don't intend on causing more pain than there was. And the thing is, it's these high schools, right? Like every high school has a different dynamic and different people. Some walk in, some walk out. You don't even know what's going on sometimes, and it's pretty difficult to like control an environment like that. Um, it's a lot to maintain. It's a lot of like janitorial work to do per se. Um, uh, I get it. Like, um, it's not an easy job. Uh, and psychologically, like it does some number on you that you um, think a certain way now, like about people in the world, um, because just you see it subjective, like there's just people here, and in the worst possible manner. It's like, oh, they're homeless, and they're useless, right? They're homeless, they can't contribute anything to society. Um, and again, this is all coming from like my own belief and my own intention. Um, like the belief that the homeless person deserves to be there. I'm sure people, they experience these things, like they see this and they might ask themselves some questions. Um, like I'm not perfect, and I don't make these videos as a standard of maybe I'm sacrificing genuine human decency and communication altogether just to say these things, right? Um, I understand like the problem that I'm portraying here. People get themselves in positions of power. It's typical that the person lives their life and they experience certain things, and then it kind of just their life kind of unfolds in a way that things are happening, but they're not happening the way they should. They're not happening, And these movies, the ones like Interstellar and all these movies, they're not nice movies because they portray a very dystopian future like 2012 and all those other movies, right? Um, you know, I remember I laughed once at a movie with like there was like I think it was called The Grey or something with like where it was like wolves attacking this guy or something. He's trying to survive or something. Um, again, I don't know. Like I don't know, right? Like I can't speak on this. If like